I don't know what Tiger Woods' dad did for a living. But I know he was somewhat well off. But that's not the most significant thing he did, though. The most significant thing he did was groom his son. And I know a dude that live on the street behind me that I rarely want to even walk down that street. But this dude walk his kids to school every day. All of them. The high school. He walks them all to school. They walk each other. And he pick them up. He ain't got no job. He be drawing on T-shirts and hats, trying to sell them feebly because, you know, some people buy them, but most people don't. Mm-hmm. But he's with his kids every day.
I'm going to say this and then go on to the video.
Okay.
And a lot of women just don't understand that, you know, a lot of brothers, man, really are really proud of sisters when they do well, they get their education, they get their jobs. But it's hard to be a pom-pom girl or be a cheerleader when you damn near about to break your rotator cuff patting yourself on the back. Like arrogance is not flattery. You know what I mean? Sometimes if you're a smart person, let someone else say that you're a smart person. You don't have to go around saying, I am so smart, I am so intelligent. That is just the height of arrogance. And a lot of these women out here that break their shoulder, rotator cuff, trying to pat themselves on the back and talk about how smart they are. And then when you really get down to it, you're like, well, how smart are you really? You got 2-3 degrees. You got $160,000 of student loan debt, making an $80,000-$90,000 a year job. That doesn't seem very, very smart. I mean, you don't want to throw that in their face, but you know, sometimes it just
you should be able to though.
Well, sometimes it just pays. It pays to be humble. All I'm saying is, like, the unnecessary braggadocio, bravado, it's a little bit too much. But let me go ahead and press on because we're behind on this video. I will say so. One of the stats here says rich folks and celebrities are the most common to be married and the most likely to be in a relationship because they have nothing to worry about. So, I mean, as much as we talk about some of the dysfunctional relationships in Hollywood, celebrities tend to be married for a much longer period of time than most of us in the general population. Another factor is that, you know, they have money. And when rich people have money, small problems don't become big problems like they do when you're broke. Or when you don't have as much money. And sometimes it could be as little as maybe one partner's expectation of where they want to be financially is too high or doesn't match their spouse, right? And you know, the other thing is that again, more people are choosing to live together and to cohabitate. And the more people cohabitate, the less likely they are to get married. But let me go to this video. Let me see. Take this off for a second. Okay. So put that. And I want you all to tell me what you think, right?
You have a stable man. Because if he don't have those things in check, it's a wrap. You gotta have a stable man.
Hold on.
Remember, whenever you meet a guy, the first thing that you want to make sure that's in check: finances, career, accomplishments. Very, very important. If you want to have a healthy relationship, it is very important that those three things are in check when you meet a guy. Because one thing, a man is a very unhappy man if his money is not right, if his career goals are not right, and if his accomplishments are not right. Remember, a man's ego is about what he has accomplished in life, how much money he has in the bank. So if he does not have those three items in check, I can almost assure you, you're going to get a very unhappy man, which is going to take all of his frustrations and emotions out on you, which is going to cause you to be very, very miserable. So with that being said, when you meet a guy, make sure finances, career, accomplishments are in check, because then you have a stable man. Because if he don't have those things in check, it's a wrap. You got a man, a miserable man. Okay? Remember that.
All right.
She meant what she said.
Queenie, I want to start with you. What are your thoughts?
Why you gonna start with me? All right. So I got a few thoughts. Like, age is a factor here. I don't think when I was 20 did I even think about that, right? That woman looks like she's probably definitely over 40. So she's lived. Her experiences are different. I do believe, delivery is everything, right? I don't care for Mr. Kevin Samuel's delivery. I don't care for a lot of delivery of a lot of things, a lot of information that we are out here sharing. So delivery is everything. I understand where she's coming from. I just think that you have such a broad audience that's going to hear that, and they're going to be thinking that when they're 25. My 23-year-old son don't know what the hell he's doing. He has nothing going for himself. And if his lady believes that he needs to have all these things in place, it's just going to be a mess. So I do believe that, one, we have to look at the demographic and the generation that she's probably really, really trying to talk to. But is that man miserable if he does not have those three things? I'm not a man, but I do know this. I have definitely, I have amazing men in my life and brothers, and my father was my number one. And I do know if he did not have his money right, and if he did not feel that he could provide, he was very unhappy and he was irritable and he would be frustrated because the demands of the world never stop coming. So will you have a miserable man at home? You might. It depends on really where he places the value of those things in his life. Men want to protect and provide and all these other things. It's what I've learned. And I'll just say that just from having my father for so long in my life. Delivery is everything. I get what she's saying. But again, I'm not a man. I would never advise a woman that way. But I think that 40, and above, we want to come into the relationship with something. Whatever that something is, I think we want to feel that we are bringing something to the person that we are entertaining or that we're pursuing. So I do think that, I'm 40 plus years old. I work. And if I didn't, and I didn't have anything to offer, or if I didn't understand the value that my absolute presence bring, then I would probably not be so happy either. And I probably wouldn't date. I probably wouldn't even bother to get in the ring, because I would want to be able to build into my partner's life. And I also want you to meet me in my best self. So I get what she's saying. I just think delivery is everything. Sorry.
As a man, I actually agree with what she said. I agree with what she said. I mean, if you're a man, there's a lot of pressure on men. And if you're a man and, men, when you get a certain age, you start thinking about legacy. For men, marriage and children is all about legacy. And if things are not where you want them to be, then she's right. I mean, everything is just, you eat cereal don't taste right. Ice ain't cold enough. Like everything is upside down. And so, I tend to agree with her.
Did he say the ice isn't cold enough?
Ice ain't cold enough. Cereal, the sugar ain't sweet enough. Everything is just backwards. Stan, is she right or is she wrong?
Bruh, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I got to defer to Ricardo, man. Come back to me, man.
Okay.
Rick got on his mind, man. I see. You got to give it to him. You got to give it to him.
Okay. Rick, give it to us.
This,
You disagree?
I did agree for a long time. I spoke on that situation. I was not a happy person. This gorgeous lady was talking to me, and I was like, ma'am, you don't want this. I never felt so good as when I walked up to her doorsteps. When I tell you that I knew I was doing something right because she greeted me every time I came in her house. And this ain't like, oh, it was once in a while. I'm talking about it wasn't long before I was over her house every day. Before I would say, hey, I got to go past my house. And she'd say, why? Right? Mm-hmm. It wasn't long. And every day when I got off work or if I was at her house before she got to her house, when she walked in the house, or she had a split foyer, she never walked in her door and I was just somewhere in her house. I was at the steps, coming down the steps, meeting her at the door. Or when I was coming in her house, she was at the steps, coming down the steps, meeting me. And we met each other at the door like we hadn't seen each other for a couple weeks. And I saw her earlier that day. And I think that I didn't have more money. I didn't have more money 6 months after we were talking to each other. I had less. I think that how you feel about yourself as a man doesn't have as much to do with the money as it does with meeting the needs. And whether or not you feel like you're meeting the need don't have to be money. And there's stuff to be done. I ask you this, I don't know, but here's a good question. What did Richard Williams do for a living?
I not know.
Nobody knows.
Serena and the Venus dad?
What everybody knows is that he had his butt out there on the tennis court with them girls. So he didn't have a job. He brought value to that household. And what he did gave that family, helped provide a legacy for that family. So there was value in Richard Williams outside of his job, if he had one. I don't know what Tiger Woods' dad did for a living. But I know he was somewhat well off. But that's not the most significant thing he did, though. The most significant thing he did was groom his son. And I know a dude that lived on the street behind me that I rarely want to even walk down that street. But this dude walk his kids to school every day. All of them. The high school. He walks them all to school. They walk each other. And he pick them up. He ain't got no job. He be drawing on T-shirts and hats, trying to sell them feebly because, some people buy them, but most people don't. But he's with his kids every day. And his children's mother, because whatever, they keep making babies together, but they supposedly not in a relationship, she go to work. But he's influencing them kids. So he's providing value. And so I think that when a man is damaged because of his lack of money, it's because of the pressure that's being put on him, right? So that woman didn't put pressure on me about money because she needed money, but she had money before. What she never had was a dude that, was focused like I was. She had dudes that took her on trips before. But when she came back, the roof was still leaking. The ceiling was still messed up. The bathroom was still messed up. The grass wasn't cut. When I met her, like about the third time I came over, there was a guy cutting the grass. I was like, why? How much do you pay this guy to cut your grass? Why is he cutting your grass? And then I was like, you got sons. And she said, well, they don't know how to cut grass. I'm like, well, you got 2 baby daddies. They ain't teach the boys how to cut grass. I was like, all right, tell that dude don't come back. next time. Just like, I'll tell your sons to cut the grass. And then she was like, they ain't gonna listen to you. I was like, man, I got it. We're gonna cut that grass. We all gonna be out there. I said, look, 2 weeks, make the date. 2 weeks, get some meat for the grill. You on the grill, we in the yard. You are not giving that guy $110 to cut your. That's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. You got teenage boys. That's ridiculous.
Word.
Now, trying to be better than their father, but I brought value to her and to her kids. And it wasn't out of competition. It's just like, I just don't, me valuing money like I did. I didn't want her money, but I wasn't going to watch her give somebody $110. And she got 2 dudes in her house. One of them was like 3 inches shorter than me, and the other one was about 4 inches taller than me. And I was like, yo, you got a 21-year-old son, man. What you mean he don't know how to cut grass? Nah, hold on. Hey, man, hey, 2 weeks. We're going to be out back. No plans on this Saturday. You cool? Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Invite your friends over. They can cut too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Ricardo, you remind me of my brother. I like that.
Yeah, thank you. You ain't gotta have money. I be mad when I don't got money too. You know it. Mm-hmm. It's because that's all I have to focus on. But if your focus is elsewhere and you providing value elsewhere, then it ain't all about that money. That's just what that's the message. But that money, chasing that money thing fail us every time.
Right.
It failed us every time. I was like the saddest person in the world. I had almost $200,000 sitting in the bank. I was sad. And I ain't even want to wake up. I was like, why do I keep waking? I was waking up like, what? I woke up again. So that stuff is, man, we just looking at it. We putting that pressure on people. I ain't about to have no pretty woman smiling in my face and be mad because I ain't got, man, I don't care if I ain't got 2 pennies. She's still smiling at me, I'm good. If she's smiling, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Care about his money. When Jada made that funny face, he ain't care nothing about his money. She don't look happy. This is my time. Maybe I can win her over. Will give all his $400-something million up.
Yeah. Yeah.
He can't get it though. He can't buy it, but he would though.
Yeah.
He pretty much did. He pretty much demonstrated that night.
Yeah. He sacrificed a lot, man. I hope it was all worth it, man. Cause, but
my wife's
name out your mouth. What are your thoughts
sorry, y'all.
What are your thoughts on what the sister said?
I don't completely disagree, but I think that it just shows where our values are. We're placing our values and our men as purely economic, what they have, and so that's what we equate our men. And I mean, as long as we live in a capitalistic society, that's going to be how men deem to value themselves. And then when you have a woman with you who puts your value, that is a dollar sign along with that value, then yes, you're going to be unhappy because you are unhappy because you live in this capitalistic society and that's your value. Your value is, I need to make a certain amount of money. And then you're with someone who sees you in that same light as well. Like, you need to make a certain amount of money for me to deem you worthy of being a man, So a lot of times men are only men if they make a certain amount of money. We have women who who do make a certain amount of money. They may make 6 figures, but if you take that away, they're not deemed as not being women anymore. Right. So, it's, will they be unhappy? Most likely, yes. because of the society we live in.
Right.
But if you go around the world and you look at men in other parts, maybe if they can't take care, I think it boils down if a man can't take care of his family, because taking care of your family is deemed differently in other parts of the world. That might just mean that you have to go kill an animal and bring it back to your family. So if you can't do that, then you might feel a certain way about yourself in another society. So I agree with it for the most part. I just don't think that that's how it should be. But me not thinking that's how it should be doesn't mean that it's not true.
Right. Stan.
Well, I guess that leaves me.
That's right.
You know, the way Queenie said it, she mentioned her delivery, and that could very well be what's going to guide my comments right now. When I think this is the lady that they were talking about on the Frank Ski show. So, you know, I heard a lot of callers talking about it, women and men, you know, but I did not hear the original message until just now. And what I heard just then, and like I said, it could be because of delivery, but what I heard just then was a woman who was primarily focused on her happiness. If you go get you a man that don't check these boxes, he ain't gonna be happy, so you ain't gonna be happy. So you better go get you a man that check these boxes so you can be happy. And to me, I have a big problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Because here we go again, we back to being self-serving. You know what I'm saying? We back to what can this man do for me in this particular case? What can this man do for me? Now, like everyone on this panel has said, you know, men have, you know, a certain responsibility to, you know, provide, protect, and things of that nature. But we need to be more focused on being partners and not you make sure you take care of what you got to take care of so you can take care of me. You know what I'm saying? I've seen it on both ends of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? I too had a dad who, you know, when the money went right, when nobody right around the house, you know, Get Rich or Die Trying, when 50 came out with that album, in my mind, that was my dad, because that's what he did. You know what I'm saying? He died trying to get rich. You know what I mean? So, and I seen all the emotions as a child, you know what I'm saying? And from him. And then, you know, you fast forward and go through life, and you have these friends and family, you know, who are chasing that money. And when I look at some of my friends who are very well off, or, you know, or just do very well for themselves, I should say, and I compare them to some of my friends who may not do as well, those who don't do as well financially, they're in a much more peaceful space in their lives as those who are getting it, you know? And, you know, I got one friend in particular, you know, and if anybody that's, you know, linked to me is watching this, they'll know who I'm talking about. Out of everybody, he probably has the least, you know? But what he does have is inner peace. He has inner peace, which allows him to be better for the woman in his life. She's not pushing him to compete with others, you know? She's not telling him, you should do what Jones do, or you should do what this guy do, or that guy do, or why didn't you do that? Or, you know, she's not doing it. But he you know, he's a partner in their scenario. You know what I'm saying? And him as a person, you'll never know if he have a bad day. You'll never know. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, their relationship is from all accounts and from what I can see from the outside looking in, is thriving. Whereas some of us who are making it, it might not be the case. So, you know, it might not be the case. So I think that woman, she's sending the wrong message. If what I believe her intent to be is true, she's sending the wrong message out to these women, especially the younger women, like, once again, what Queenie mentioned earlier, if a 20-something hears what she's saying, she's setting them up for failure. You know what I'm saying? Because at 20 years old, all these boxes are not going to be checked. And I'm sure she probably wasn't even talking to those. She probably was talking to the ones that are her age.
Right.
But even with that being said, she can be leading somebody her own age down the wrong path of unhappiness. And I've seen that personally quite a bit, just because of that money. You know what I'm saying? Women who, if they don't find that man who's on that level, financially, educationally, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I feel like they could be missing out on a good dude. You know, I've seen women that are up there and, you know, they date, I guess, according to some, they would probably say date down. They're happy. It's not all about money. It should not be all about money. That's what I take from what the message that lady said in that video. It should not be all about money.
So when I saw the video, right, I thought how she presented it was a little bit different from the women who said, "Oh, hey, girl, you need a man with 6 figures." I didn't get that. What I got from it is that she's talking about a man on his purpose, right? That's what I took from it. And if a man is not on his purpose, unfortunately, we wrap everything around money. But that's what I took from it. Like if a man is not on his,
that's what she said though.
That's what she said. That's how she kicked it.
She said money.
Right.
Money, ego,
He focused solely on money.
Right.
Yes.
But
there's no. She said, if he don't have his money, and I bust that down so quick. I would love to be sitting in her face because I would ask her, what dollar amount is happy?
Some of them will probably tell you 6 figures.
No,
because that seems to be that seems to be the thing.
I promise you, you got more 6-figure people committing suicide than you dirt broke people.
And you know what? That's a Black culture thing.
Yeah.
So let's really look at where that's coming from. That's in Black culture, and it's running rampant, and it's misleading our people.
Which one of us in Black culture is perpetuating that?